lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party.
Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Yes, it has happened. We've been waiting for this one. We have been waiting for this one. After the meltdowns of the Rangers fans last night, we've been waiting for the ones in the media. Yes, the ones in the media to have their little meltdown. And Kris Boyd never lets us down, does he? Yes, Kris Boyd never lets us down. And we're going to listen to some of Kris Boyd in just a second. In fact, let's just listen to Kris Boyd right now.
His foot's in the box. That's irrelevant because Scales doesn't touch him around the feet area. It's the tugging of the shirt. Then everybody can see. Even ones that wear green tinted glasses can see that the pull is inside the box.
Your old six-a-side pal Neil Lennon was in Premier Sports last night saying just the same thing, agreeing with Alan Hutton, the first time for everything.
So as I said, it goes and brought it back for the initial contact. The issue here is that VAR has let John Beaton down. There's no getting away from it. I mean, Alan Muir
You wait for it because the big meltdown's coming for Kris Boyd.
is a VAR. Frank Connor is the assistant VAR. What were they doing?
Sitting looking at their Celtic pools results.
I mean, seriously, what were they doing? You go back to the old days and listen, there's this...
Oh, go back to the old days. Here we go. How far is he going to go back? Because generally when Kris Boyd starts talking about the old days, he goes back to like about 30 years ago when Brian Laudrup and people played for the club.
Decisions that both teams could feel aggrieved with over the years. But there's really no excuse anymore, Roger. Really no excuse, plain and simply because you've got the video there, you can look at it, and if one person misses it in the VAR room, the other person should see it. So there is no reason for them to miss this. People might look at the on-field referee, John Beaton, and criticise him. This has got absolutely nothing to do with John Beaton. And by the
Of course it's not, because he's one of the follow crowd, isn't he?
way, even more so, Roger, people are saying, call him over to the monitor to have a look. He doesn't even need to be called over to the monitor to have a look. It's clear. It's a clear penalty kick. All you need to turn around, all the VAR needs to turn around, Alan Muir and VAR, or Frank Connor, if he's assisting him, all they need to turn around and say, it's black and white. They can turn around and say, it's a penalty kick. We're overruling that. It's a penalty kick. The shirt tug is the pull of the shirt finishes in.
We need to listen to the Celtic version, because we need to sort of take our green tinted specs off and let's hear from the man himself, Liam Scales.
Hard to put into words, but that was brilliant. It was a mad game. Both sides were on the front foot for a lot of it, and both sides really wanted it, but it's great to come out on top.
There was a few Rangers complaints that suggested they wanted a penalty for the incident that you were booked for, just a free kick at the start of extra time. What was your thought on it?
I thought it was outside the box. I haven't watched it back, so I can't really tell you if it was in or out, but at the time I thought it was outside, and there was no complaints at the time, so I think we just got on with the game. So yeah, I'm sure they looked at it upstairs. But
how special does this one feel?
How special does this one feel? I'm sure they looked at it. There was no complaints at the time. Yeah, that's right. And there was no complaints for the Rangers players, but it didn't stop them. Are you ready for this? Sit down, get a cup of tea, and a cup of coffee, and some popcorn even, because this is the Kris Boyd Ultimate Meltdown of 2024.
The time is now to be asking questions. There's no getting away from it. As I said, it happened a few years ago when clearly offside. Nothing was given then. There was no VAR then, was there? So, you've not got that excuse. This, as I said, John Beaton has missed it on the field, which I can totally understand. But for two to miss it on a computer, it's no good enough. It is not good enough. And I just get the feel. I mean, I know it's changed in terms of the two full time. We had two, and Andrew Dallas and Greg Aiken. There is more full time referee, but I just wonder if for cup finals especially, should we have our most experienced VAR referees on these games? I think we should.
Yeah, because of course you should, because they all go to the lodge meeting beforehand, don't they?
I think we should. And as I said, if I'm Rangers, I am wanting to get to the bottom of this.
You're Rangers.
whenever Celtic do it, there's an inquest and everything. It's got to
No, there's no. When was the last inquest into it? Honestly,
be, we've got to get to the bottom of this. Whenever Rangers seem to be questioning something, it's a laugh and a joke and everything. It gets...
But the whole club's a laugh and a joke. You've only been around since 2012. I mean, you've got a history of not paying taxes. You've got a history of hiding things and behind dodgy accounting.
It's brushed under the carpet. There's nothing said. If I'm Rangers, it's time to stand up. It's time to stand up and ask questions because you need to get to the bottom of this. The time is now to be asking questions.
Oh, that's it. He's totally lost it, isn't he? We're going to go back to Liam Scales. It was a bit quiet.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the first one available to us this season, and to go out and win it in a penalty shootout, it's always a little bit sweeter. So,
What message did that send to your rivals?
I think all season we've been sending a message that we're sort of relentless and we're playing good football this season, and I think today you mightn't have seen much good football, but to still get the win, it sort of showed another side to us that we can win ugly sometimes. And yeah.
Did it get too close for comfort, or is it again the mentality, no matter what, you'll still get over the line?
Yeah, I think these games, these cup finals, they're always close, they're always like intense, and it's hard to control them because there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of nerves and all over the park for both sides. So they're always difficult. If you look back at the one last year, it was the same. It was sort of like nothing in it for the whole game, and that's the case. That's what we were expecting. But
yeah, but anyway, we need to go back to KRIS Meltdown Boyd because he's always good for a laugh.
Inside the box.
I've been quite impressed with the SFA this season since Willie Collum took charge of the rest. Boyd. In so much as, I've always complained the lack of openness and transparency. No complaints in that score this season. I think the KMI panel,
Again, you look at, as you say, the transparency. When you
Wait a minute here. He's just said that the transparency of the referees is good, and now he's criticising it, saying that there's something dodgy going on. Make up your mind, KRIS Boyd. I mean, you have just said that. You have just said that the transparency of the SFA and the VAR officials and the referee officials is good.
I think since, and people were criticising Willie Collum or criticising the appointment, I felt as if it was the right appointment at this time. He gets it. He understands Scottish football. Again, you look at...
he should do. He's a Scottish ref.
As you say, the transparency. When you're in this position...
what position is that? Coming in second again and not winning and being serial losers.
It's difficult to appoint referees and the way that the fixtures have felt, and you've got people in Europe and stuff like that, and it's difficult to appoint referees.
There's no Scottish referees in Europe. There's never been any Scottish referees in Europe for a long time because they're playing with a downgraded version of VAR. They've not got the full VAR training. So there's no referees in European football. So don't be using that as an excuse, and don't be using that as an excuse that the Rangers were in Europe on Thursday night and they meant to play on the Sunday.
I think that, for me, if I am Patrick Stewart, Fraser Thornton, who started Rangers or started Ibrox today, the first thing I'm doing is demanding a meeting with the SFA, with Willie Collum, because I think Willie has already been out there and he has been transparent, and I would want to get to the bottom of it. And Ian Maxwell as well at the SFA. Listen, I know this is a League Cup, it's a league competition, but it's the SFA that provide the match officials. And I would want to get to the bottom of why the VAR didn't intervene, because it's no good enough. The second half they came out and they did look like a total different team, and were able to cause Rangers some problems. Get a deflected goal through Greg Taylor. Dyson Maeda, as he always does in this fixture, seems to pop up and does something. Once he gets in the clear, there's absolutely no way you're catching him. But then Rangers come back and get an equaliser, and you think, well, what's next? Rangers, Celtic then take the lead again, and then Rangers come back. Good header from Danilo, Nicholas Kuhn with that third goal for us. And then I thought at the extra time it was two teams that were cagey, rather than wanting to win it. So it was. But again, you look at that decision, the penalty kick. It would have been. You never know what would have happened then. But once it goes to penalty kicks, I know people will say it's a lottery, but it's not.
It's not a lottery, right? You run about penalty kicks, it went to penalty kicks, and you've lost on penalty kicks. There's the irony of this altogether. If you just scored the penalty, Celtic might went on and scored another 2. Do you know what I mean? So you're putting all these permutations into the ifs, buts, and maybes of what might happen at a game. But ultimately, you're talking about a penalty, and you've lost on penalties. Kasper Schmeichel, you just might have got the penalty, and Kasper Schmeichel might have saved it.
A lottery. You've got to be, you've got to hope your goalkeeper stands up and tall and does.
Yeah, listen, but your goalkeeper couldn't keep a hold of it, Jesus.
But he does make saves. Kasper Schmeichel was able to do that. And you look at the other
Because he's the best and most experienced football goalkeeper in Scottish football.
Side of it, you want to get, penalty kick takers. You want to get players that are confident at taking penalties. And I've got to be honest.
Tavernier was there. What are you on about?
Roger, I didn't. You know that way when you look at Yilmaz walking up, you kind of knew. You had that feeling. I was like, this is going to be the one that's missed. And maybe listen. I know Philip Clement came out after the game and said that they're practicing their penalties, but I mean,
and he also said that he had hundreds of people texting him. Who leaked his number?
You can practice penalties all you want. They're very clean strikers, or striker of the ball. So, I mean, I'm surprised that, we don't see more goalkeepers hitting, penalty kickers of the ball. So, I mean, I've absolutely no issue with, goalkeepers taking penalties. What I have is I would want my forward players to be at least stepping forward and hitting them as well, though.
He's surprised in the first 5. Bill Leckie made a big point to this in his cup final verdict today.
We're not agreeing with Leckie on anything.
Should Dessers have been up there? You're talking about strikers. Danilo took his penalty, scored his penalty. Should Dessers have been in that first 5? I know Philip Clement says he was going to be next in line had it gone to sudden death. Should he have been ahead of Ridvan Yilmaz and Jack Butland?
As I said there, I've no. I mean, people might be saying, you're losing your mind saying that goalkeepers should be hitting. But Cyril Dessers has hit penalties before. For me, he's got to be the one. And want to score another. I know it doesn't go down as your record, but want to put the ball in the back of the net should be winning those games. They should be. You look at then the Nice performance, which I thought was very good.
Oh,
they won, and that's what you're accepting now is it's better. But when you actually sit back and what he's won and he's contributed, even last season. Last season, when you think about it, it was low and it was a difficult period for Celtic. So to come back then as well, it was a big.
Oh my God!
It was a big part of the season, and to go and put on the performances that he done then, absolute ages, doesn't it?
I know.
It's incredible.
Anyway, that's Chris Boyd, who's had a little bit of a meltdown, as always. We've been waiting, and this is the one that we've all been waiting for, it is the Chris Boyd final meltdown. Is it the final meltdown of 2024? I wonder, because there is still a few games left to go before the end of the season. And then, obviously, the big one, the derby in the new year. Yes, will Chris Boyd have another meltdown then? It will be at Ibrox, that game. It's going to be interesting, won't it? Anyway, on that note, make sure you join us at 8 p.m. tonight. If you've already passed 8 p.m, make sure you join us in the live. 8 p.m. Celtic part time every single day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We take Friday off because nobody really bothers on a Friday night. But anyway, make sure you join us at 8 p.m. Celtic part time for the lives. And also, if you're still watching the video at this late stage, make sure you give to the Just Giving page. We're sitting on well over the total of £1,000 that we initially wanted to raise. We're on our target to the next total, which is 2,000. And we're doing a Boxing Day live event. So for every £1,000 raised and donated to the Celtic Foundation via the Just Giving page, we will be on live for 1 hour. 1 hour equals £1,000. So let's get the money rolling in. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.